Hey everyone, I have a question for you. Can anyone tell me what the difference is between $1 and $1 million? Nothing. And I'm going to explain that to you by telling you an experience that I had over the last 2 days with a turtle. But this whole experience with $1 actually started over the weekend. I was talking with a friend and he was asking me how to manifest money. And we talked about that for a little bit. But one of the things that I told him over the weekend was, do you know the difference between $1 and $1 million? What is it? Nothing. The creation of both are the same. There is no difference between creating $1 million versus creating $1. How does this relate to the turtle? So 2 days ago, last night. So I was going out to get food, and we have had a lot of rain here, extensive amounts of rain, and it's caused flooding in the roads. And as I'm leaving my driveway, right near my mailbox, I see this turtle. And I did not want it to get run over, so I do my usual where I pull over, or in this case, park in my driveway, and I go to pick up the turtle and put it safely on the other side of the road. And hopefully I don't get too emotional because, this was a very emotional experience. But upon getting closer to this turtle, because she was facing me, I realized that almost half of her shell is either crushed or just completely gone. And you can see the inside of this turtle. And I'm also a very, very energetically sensitive person. And so it just really hit me. I wasn't expecting this. I contacted rescues, tried to figure out what the heck I was supposed to do because this is the first time I've come across a turtle with as extensive damage as this turtle. Long story short, because of the time of day, the only rescue that was still open, it was over 40 minutes away and I wouldn't have been able to get there in time. And I'm just beside myself because this turtle is suffering and I can just feel the pain that she's in. And she was very much alive. This was not a turtle that was right on the brink of death. She was very alert, even tried to hide in her shell when I got close. And so the rescue basically said, well, if you can't make it here, then you just have to leave her overnight or put her in a box and then bring her in the morning, and just hope that she survives. Well, the damage was pretty extensive. I didn't think that she would last until today. So why am I telling you this about the turtle? After finding the turtle and, trying to contact rescues, I also was on my way to go get food. I look into my mailbox, and I pull out the one piece of mail that I had for the day. And over the weekend, as you remember from the start of the video, I said told my friend there is no difference between creation of $1 and creation of $1 million. This piece of mail was a survey from, I think it was the Food and Drug Administration. And encased in this survey was this dollar bill. And they said, as an appreciation of filling out the survey, we're giving you $1. That is how easy it should be to have things generate in our environment. How does this relate to the turtle? One of the first things, actually really the only thing, because, I can talk to animals, the 3 words that this turtle said to me after first feeling this wave of energy of just this mature, motherly, almost matriarch energy, right? And this turtle was not small, it was about this big. The 3 words that she said to me was, help my eggs. And yesterday, when I'm hearing these 3 words said and just in an emotional state because it's not even for herself, it's for her babies, I'm looking around, I don't see the eggs. And so I took a second to like look kind of at her. Like I didn't know if it was like behind her. I don't see any eggs. Of course, wasn't able to take her, right? This morning, I go on my run and she did not make it. But she stayed alive a fairly long time. And I noticed on the ground there were 2 eggs that I don't know where they were, but they were there this morning and they were not there yesterday. And unfortunately, this point could not be saved. She has, thankfully passed and is not suffering and is not in pain anymore. How does this relate to the dollar and creation and this whole process? The turtle was by my mailbox where I found the dollar bill. I had just told my friend about the fact that there is no difference in creation between $1 and $1 million. The reason why there is no difference is because the act of creation is the same regardless of what you're creating. And I think we all have something to learn from this turtle when it comes to what we are trying to create and what we desire to connect with and be within this life. So if you think about it, we're like the turtle. So we're generating thoughts inside of us. Those are the eggs. And you might not see them right away, just like I did not see the eggs yesterday. But they're there. When you think a thought and it's not immediately in your environment, it's germinating, it's taking form, taking root. We're also like the turtle, right? There's a time in this creation process where we're suffering and we're in pain, and we sometimes think that there's no way out. But at the same time, this entire time that this is going on, we're still creating inside of us. We have our thoughts. We are creators of life inside at our very core. But then comes the process where, I'm reminded of this lesson that I've learned a couple years ago. To create something requires death. There always has to be balance. And just like this turtle was giving up of her life force, and unfortunately her eggs didn't make it either, we have to have something die in order for this creation to come to fruition. And a lot of times we avoid the suffering, we avoid the pain for as long as possible. I didn't know what to do in this case with this turtle, and I was kind of beside myself yesterday because I had reached the end of like what I could do for this creature, and it just had to go through the suffering. But in the same way, we have to go through the suffering. But the suffering lasts as long as until you understand that what you're giving up, what's dying, is never you to begin with. And what we're required to give up when we're creating, when we're generating this, is everything that we're not. And because we're creators of life in our very center, it's almost backwards in our nature to let anything die. And I think that's such a beautiful thing to realize about us as human beings, right? And so the other thing about creation is her eggs didn't make it. A lot of times these small seeds that we're planting inside of us that are along the pathways to these things that are just more aligned with us, right? They too have to pass. And it's almost like little seeds, little nuggets of like, that felt really good. That was great. Oh yes, like this is aligned because it's on the same path, but you have to realize that it's not the full picture. And when we're willing to give up these seeds, when we're willing to experience our own suffering and understand that suffering does not have to occur, if we're willing to make peace with letting go of everything that we're not, then what comes to fruition is something that is so aligned with us because it is, for lack of a better explanation, aligned with the same essence that we carry. So for the people who I've been talking to about the dollar, you guys know who you are. I love you so much. This video is for you. And this video is for anyone who might be having a hard time lately. I've had quite a few conversations with people that, you know, might be a little bit burnt out and, you know, are really wanting to be and are very open to being somewhere else or feeling a certain type of way. And so just know, like, there is a process to this. It doesn't have to be suffering. I think once you understand and really accept what you're giving up, then I think that's where this comes quicker. The other thing, to the reason why the generation of $1 and $1 million is not any different. Our thoughts, like each thing is a thought. One thought is no different than the other in terms of weight. They're all the same. And so what we're really having to give up too, and what's causing our suffering, is these conditional situations and societal conditions that we're putting on this. So, for example, you know, you're told that you have to manifest a certain way, feel a certain way, be a certain way, interact with the rules of the outside world and society in a certain way. And none of that is true. When we think, when we have a thought, the conditions are on how we are connecting with that end result, not about our ability to think. We've never ever told ourselves to stop the act of thought creation. You might not want to think for a little bit, but that's different than saying, I do not want to generate. I will not generate another thought. It's impossible because we are creators. And when you can separate yourself, again, from everything that the thought is not, that is where we have the success and what we like to call it. So I hope that you guys found something within this. I just was very moved with my turtle experience and the fact that, like, I picked up this piece of mail with $1 in it when this was all going on, and it was just so such a energetically strong experience that I feel like I had to share, because it was the full cycle of the generation of creation and everything that we are and everything that we want to be and want to experience and want to have. Beautifully laid out, with the exception that, you know, the turtle was in pain and everything passed. But I think if we can use this as a lesson and, you know, take the experience for everything that it did give, I think that in and of itself is a beautiful thing. So thanks for sticking with me. I love you guys. It's been a while, just depending on which platform you're seeing this on, but I hope to do more videos, and I hope all of you are just doing really well. Love you, and I'll talk to you later.